For me, like hiring virtual assistants was a great way to pull myself out, make my time more valuable. And so right now we have I had my first ever VA quit on me, which was interesting. Literally the first quit I've ever had in a few years. So I think we are at 8 right now. Product sourcing team is most of that. I have a team manager who just like.
E-commerce is the greatest business opportunity of our generation.
Yo, what is going on, people? It's your boy Kaj, back in the virtual studio with my co-host Josh.
What's going on, guys?
And today we have on a guest that I think most of you will recognize, the man Warner Fields himself.
What's up, guys? Happy to be chatting with you guys. Finally made it onto the pod here. I'm cool enough now, right? Something like that.
We're finally cool enough to ask you on, is what it is.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys. Excited to get into it
man.
today. Drop some knowledge for the listeners here.
Yeah, it's funny because I think, Josh, you could attest to this too, but I remember like watching your YouTube videos in the early days, and then when you were posting about, I'm graduating in college, and I'm like, I'm following this kid's journey, and now I mean you're in the stratosphere when it comes to Amazon.
Well, I mean, life gets a little easier when you can only work on business, right? Like people with kids and they got the 9 to 5, like that's hard mode.
That is hard mode. So let's start there. Why? Because I know I've seen a lot of people, and I'm not the person who totally bashes on college entirely. I definitely have my gripes with the modern education system. But there are a lot of people, young kids, who have done Amazon, scaled it successfully, and then quit right away. Why did you decide to finish school even when you were putting up multi-6-figure months on Amazon?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I'm not the type of guy that likes to be like, you sold $5,000 on Amazon, quit your job. Like it's time to throw it all to the side, right? So for me, yeah, it was. I was already about halfway through college when I really started like gaining traction. First year was just like 100,000 in revenue, so that's not anything worth like throwing your future prospects away at that point, right? You don't know where you can take things. So I was already about halfway done with school anyway by the time I was really making decent money. And I had some nice scholarships, so it just made sense for me personally, that kind of thing. Maybe if I wasn't on scholarship, I might have given it a shot, but yeah, it just made sense. Plus, I was studying like economics, a little bit of Chinese, that type of stuff that's pretty useful for business, what we do. So it's not like I was there for a writing major or something like that, right?
Got it. Makes sense. Now take us a step further. A step back further. How did you first get into e-commerce and selling on Amazon?
Yep. Yeah. So 2018, I'm in the dorm room. You do the classic, how do I make money online search, like all that type of stuff. The summer before, I had seen some videos about like reselling shoes on eBay. So I remember one of the first things I sold, I actually still have the receipt framed in my office, back at like the corporate HQ, I guess you could call it. It's not here, but it was the very first pair of shoes I bought. I went to Ross like before some like church event or something like that, right? And was like, all right, I'm gonna show up, and I had like 20 pairs of shoes. I was like, yo, check it out! I got a bunch of shoes in the back. I'm gonna sell them all. Those did not sell very well. So that was kind of the first foray, trying to do some eBay, and then stumbled onto some videos in the dorm room on selling used books on Amazon. And I know that's where a lot of you guys who are watching probably started. I know. It's the classic training grounds for lots of Amazon sellers, just hitting thrift stores, yard sales, all that type of stuff. And yeah, was able to grow that, and from there we'll get into a lot of the other stuff, but I'm selling name brand stuff from there.
Absolutely love it. And so you decided to pivot at some point, from books to online arbitrage, really starting to get in the groove with online arbitrage. Talk to us about how you figured out how to scale online arbitrage. Especially because I feel like you're one of the first people, and probably, I mean, not the first, there are tons of YouTube content creators, but at least from my perspective, one of the YouTube content creators who was the first to really lay out the process of how to effectively scale online arbitrage. So did you have someone who was mentoring you, or were you just kind of figuring it out as you went?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of figuring it out. Like I would say, I think Chris Grant has me beat on like the first like OA YouTube videos like consistently.
That's true.
Like
that's
I remember
true. I gotta give Chris the shout out.
I remember watching
sure.
like a couple of his, but for the most part, it was all like self-taught, that type of thing. Like I don't remember, like, I never watched a video about like reverse sourcing. I was like, wait, I bet I could do this. And I was like, wait, let me make a video about this. So like, but the OG days, you're looking at like a great value product, like that type of stuff. Like I was just kind of figuring stuff out. Figured it out how to source, all that kind of thing. I wish there were good resources I could have invested in. Maybe I should have linked up with Chris a little bit sooner. But yeah, I mean, it was mostly just kind of trial and error, right? Like a lot of people, they want to sit there, especially now with so much content out there. They want to sit there and maybe that's where they're at right now. Maybe I'm calling you out, but they're on their 10th, 20th hour of watching content about, selling on Amazon. They get that same itch in their brain scratch. It's like, oh, I'm being productive. I'm starting a business. Like, no, you've watched 20 hours of YouTube. You've made $0. You've spent $0. That's not a business. And so like, it's almost easier in a way when there was less out there. Just like, all right, let me buy some stuff, see what happens. Let me lose some money. Let me make some money. And it's just mostly just trial and error. Like almost anything in business is trial and error.
Yeah. Yep. And I can attest to that. Just from being in the space and existing online, like, the one thing I've noticed is the people who have the most success are just the people who take the craziest amount of action. Yeah. Like there are people who have way bigger businesses revenue wise than me, but then they're asking me questions about like nuanced stuff. And it's just because they have the sales, they have the revenue because they're really good at sourcing, they're really good at buying, and they get it prepped and turn around fast. And if you can do those three things effectively, you're going to scale.
Yeah. Amazon is not an easy business, but it's not a complicated business. That's how I like to put it.
Yep.
It's you're slamming your head against the wall for the first 1 to 2 months, however fast you learn. It's like, okay, I'm starting to get it now, and it's doing more of the same from there.
Yep.
Now, like, let's talk about your business a little bit, and we'll like kind of break it down. Are you 100% OA right now, or do you dabble in wholesale at all?
Yeah, I'd say I'm probably 95% OA. I'll jump on the occasional wholesale deal. Still have like a supplier or two left from when I used to do a lot more wholesale, or just buying the same product we've been buying for multiple years kind of thing. No reason to throw that away, but I've just enjoyed the process of scaling OA more. I'm not like it, either one works, right? Like everything works to make money for the most part. I just don't like being the guy making sales calls all day. I'd rather just kind of hop on with some VAs, that type of thing. Like, hey, check out this sale today. Let's see what we can do here. That's just more fun to me. Like that's the biggest thing is do what's fun is the biggest advice I'd say for you guys who are watching. Like, like, oh, I have to start a private label. No, you don't. You have to make money. It doesn't matter how you're making money.
100%. Now, do you go through Prep Center 100%, or do you do any in-house prep at all?
Yeah, it's probably almost all Prep Center. A little bit is like my little sister still works for me. She does the occasional prep shipment. You guys know how it goes. Like, I can't afford a $1.20 prep on this, but I'll pay you $20 an hour to prep some shipments, that type of thing, right? Like, keep it in the family, making some money together. But almost all of it is Prep Center.
Nice. That's really cool. And how long have you been with that Prep Center? A while?
Yeah, I guess maybe around 2 years or so at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I went through several prep centers trying to get it. Like if you guys are watching, you're trying to get like a good prep center for your business. Send in whatever their minimum is, probably like 50, 100 units. Document like the tracking numbers, like, oh, it showed up on Monday, they didn't ship it for 3 weeks later. Like, all right, probably not the prep center for me. If you got a good like direct line of communication with the manager, that type of stuff. So like for me, they ship really fast. They're not the cheapest by any means. I could probably be saving some money, but they ship really fast. They have a few other clients, so I get really good service. Like it's just worth it for my business. There's more than just price that goes into prep centers.
What are you looking at for like turnaround time for products for at Prep Center?
Yeah, I mean, if they can receive it and get it shipped in within a week or so, that's pretty good. Like a lot of them will say like, oh, we're 24-hour turnaround time. Like almost none of those prep centers that claim they're 24-hour. Like unless they're out there at 3 a.m. prepping it themselves, they're not actually doing 24. Within the week is fine.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about like your VA structure a little bit. Kind of just walk us through how you structure like all your VAs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that was like a really important thing for me, and it should be for all of you guys starting a business. Like, make sure it's a business. Make sure it's not something where it's like, all right, I'm sitting on the phone doing the same amount of work hours for forever. And for me, like hiring virtual assistants was a great way to pull myself out, make my time more valuable. And so right now we have. I had my first ever VA quit on me, which was interesting. Literally the first quit I've ever had in a few years. So I think we are at 8 right now. Product sourcing team is the most of that. I have a team manager who just like helps the team. He reviews all the leads they're finding. an admin virtual assistant who does all the boring IP complaints and ungating, all that stuff that we all love to do very much. And then I have a sourcing VA who only looks at the leads we found in the past, which is kind of an interesting one that I added on because there's something around like 12-ish thousand leads that we've found. So if you can go back and look at all those leads that you found, like you got a pretty good treasure trove of work that you've already done. So his only job is to be like, oh, there's a sale on Adidas today. Let me look back at all the hundreds of Adidas leads we have and see if any of them are good today. And yeah, there's a lot we can dive into there. That I'm a big fan of the team building stuff.
Yeah, how do you do calls every day? Do you do calls weekly? How does that what is the communication like with that team?
Yeah. I try to stay as hands off as possible, to be honest. That's obviously something you won't do at the beginning, right? You don't want to just say, like, all right, here you go, VA, like, have fun. You're on the team now. Good luck sourcing products, right? That comes from like an initial period where you hire them. I'll just walk through the beginning process, right? So I'll hire somebody, I'll let them run free for a day, see what they do, how their skill level is. We'll hop on a call. And for that first month, couple weeks, we're talking pretty often, make sure they understand how I think, especially in product sourcing. It's, hey, did you know you can do this little trick? And it's like, oh my gosh, that saves me 2 hours a day. Like that makes life so much easier. And then it's kind of, a little bit off the gas at that point. From there, I mostly just like track profit, how much we're able to spend on the work that they're doing. And then I'll just kind of diagnose, say, hey, you did great on this. Here's why it's been awesome. Or, this wasn't so great. Here's why. Make sure you're doing both, not just I know a lot of people's tendency when they're leading a team is like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And then they're just like, oh, they did this well. And they never say that they did well, right? Like you gotta brag on your people. No, nobody wants, a couple of you guys watching have had that boss. Maybe you got that boss right now. It's like, you're only hearing the, hey, you messed this up again. And they, the rest of the week when you did your job well, they're radio silent. So yeah, it's just kind of working with them on that, kind of hoping they understand how I think about things. We also have my team lead will kind of help train our people, and I have a head of sourcing as well. She'll run like some calls every other week. She runs a call, and then usually like a time or two every month I'll also run a call. But I don't want to be in a bunch of meetings. I know my people don't want to be in a bunch of meetings. So as long as systems are running smooth and we're making money, like I'm happy with that.
That's really cool. Is there any way like you incentives or anything, or like leaderboards and like people finding stuff? Do you use any of those tactics at all?
Yeah. So we've been through probably every incentive in the book for especially incentivizing like product sourcing. So the first one I ever tried was leaderboard based. Like whoever found the most leads got a bonus, which has multiple problems. You don't make money per lead, you make money per dollar they spend and dollar they make, obviously, right? And when you have a team that's competing against each other, they're not going to collaborate. They're not going to want to help each other. So there's like, it just builds a weird environment there. Tried a bunch of other things, but what we landed on is a bracketed profit share based on how much profit their actual ASINs generated. And then after a few months, that ASIN gets unclaimed again and somebody can resource it, right? Because, it might be not good from that lead. They're not good from that source anymore. They get a couple restocks. And that's anywhere from 0 to 6% of the profit that product made is what they're going to get thrown on with the end of their bonus at the end of the month. And sometimes like, Q4 this past year, one of my VAs literally made $10,000 off of her leads alone. So she almost doubled her salary that month, right? Like getting that 6% profit share. She's like, holy cow! Like this is a game changer. Also getting the 13th month in the Philippines. I'm sure she had a fun month. She probably had a fun month.
That's incredible.
I might need to work as a VA for Warner.
Yeah.
For Q4.
That's funny. Yeah, that is not the typical. I'll give you guys a nice metric. If your VAs are generating like 2,000 to 3,000 in profit or more, it's a good sign that they're at least like middle of the road, decent, kind of worth keeping. And then so if you want to come make 10K with me this Q4, Kaj, I got you, man.
That's so funny. So you said you have 8 VAs, right? And 6 of them are product sourcers?
Yes.
Around there?
I should know this. 5 product sourcers, admin, database, team lead. So I guess I'm at 8. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And what's the spread between like how much profit like your top sourcers bringing in and then I guess the minimum that you accept for a new hire.
Yeah. Obviously, when they're new, they're not going to have the multiple months of experience and building up a catalog of leads that's making their money. Because I almost want them to, be able to see, like, hey, this lead was really good. I'm able to restock it. The metrics are good. Like, it just puts their incentives the same as you, right? Like, you want to find stuff that we can just buy over and over again, stays profitable, right? That's what they want now too. So for new hires, usually they won't start making significant profit until the second month where I start running the bonuses on that, just because you buy a month later, it sells and make profit, all that kind of stuff, right? And anyone who's not at least, like, typically I'll make sure they're at least doubling their salary on the profit that they're generated. And if they're under that consistently, we're probably gonna have a conversation. Maybe have to let them go. A lot of times though, if your team is underperforming, it is your fault. I hate to tell you, but if you are, if you're somebody on your team's not doing so hot, and it's like, wait, okay, maybe I haven't given them resources in a while. I haven't shown them what to do. It's like, oh wait, I might be the common denominator here, right? Like, so just make sure that you've actually provided them with enough opportunity, and then if they're still struggling after that, we'll probably have some conversations.
Yeah, 100%. Gotta take extreme ownership as the leader and owner in your business.
Yeah.
Especially with something where it's not rocket science. Like, obviously there needs to be a base level of competency to put in the work ethic and be willing to learn from the employee side of things. But what we're doing is 100% teachable. So if they can't do it, it's likely, like you said, because you haven't provided enough resources for them to succeed.
Yeah. I just see that all the time from new people. They sold $5,000 in a month. It's like, all right, I'm ready to hire and outsource my team. It's like, why does this person suck? Well, I don't know. Maybe because you can't spend money. Like, if you're running at 5K a month, like, you're understanding it, but it's not you're not ready to, like, scale the business and stuff. Like, you don't really even know what you're doing yet.
Exactly. Now I'm really curious about, because you said now you're kind of hands off and you have your team lead and your VAs. They all know what to do. They're in a good rhythm. At what point did you figure out how to hire someone to lead the rest of the team, and then you were able to be a little bit more hands off?
Yeah, I mean, that's just going to come through working more hands on with your team for at least 6 months, a year, that kind of thing. You'll have standout people on your team, right? And once you get to the point where you actually need to delegate responsibility and stuff, like, you'll probably have that person in mind. It's like, man, like, he's been crushing it. Like, he's got good energy on meetings. Like, people kind of look up to him. The stuff that he's saying, it's like, oh, actually, I learned a trick from him the other day, like that type of thing, right? Like, so the gal she's the head of our sourcing team. She was just, like, being very proactive and helping other people on the team already. Like, I just kept hearing this, like, new hire, someone would say, like, talk to me for 30 minutes. I was like, I didn't tell you to do that. So yeah, when she's having those conversations without me even, like, saying, like, hey, can you help the people out? Like, it's like, all right, clearly I've got an A player here, right? So a lot of times they'll kind of show themselves. They'll be really accurate on what they're doing. They're proactive. They're working an hour or two extra every day. Like, they'll stand out to you. And if you don't have any of those standout hires, then you might not have that person yet. And you kind of keep going through and see if you can find that person.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, for sure. Kaja, you done with the team? Are we ready to pivot here?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm curious to see what your software stack is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously a little biased on this type of stuff, but I think we build the best products for Amazon sellers. So obviously, like, number one, everybody needs Keepa, that type of thing. Obviously, SellerAmp we're using to do our product sourcing. Been working with our team there for a couple years now. And then we also just launched Boxem as well. So that is a major game changer. We got, like, 2D barcodes implemented, faster workflow, all that kind of stuff. And that helps you send products off to Amazon, know your analytics, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of that's like the simple tech stack. There's, like, some other more, like, some nittier grittier stuff, like visual ping for tracking some restocks. Like, there's a lot of, like, little things that you might want to add on, but those are the three main ones. And I like introducing people to Amazon, because the more people that we can help sell profitably, the longer they stay users of the tool, because I believe we have the best thing that's like it, right? So I just want to see as many profitable Amazon sellers as possible. Obviously we all want to make money, so that's how I make money off of giving away the whole game, is you guys use the best tools on the market.
Yeah, 100%. Those
How do you
tools
get
are surefire.
How do you get into developing tools?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I am very much regretting dropping my computer science minor now. There's been many times where it's like, man, this feature's on fire. Like, I gotta go. We gotta go see what's up. And it's just like, oh, you gotta trust the team. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, I joined the SellerAmp side of things. I guess a little over 2 years ago. I started using it for my own business. It was just a tiny tool at the time. I had heard about it from like a VA or two because it was popular in the UK. And I was like, hey, we might have an opportunity to work together here. And I just wanted to show it off. And yeah, been a nice relationship there. And then Boxem, we actually built our own in-house team. That's myself, Miles, and our friend Danny. We co-founded Boxem, and we have an awesome in-house team, American team, all that kind of stuff. Not cutting any corners, so we can make sure we build the best possible products for you guys.
How long did it end up taking you to do Boxem?
Just shy of a year. Which like anything with software, like we're like, oh, it might take 6 months. Oh wait, it's gonna take another one, right? So like, anytime you guys are requesting features and stuff from software, is like we usually probably already working on it, but it's one of those things where it's like, you put a comma in the wrong spot and you got to fix another. You got to go back and redo a day's worth of work, right? Like that's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, we've got an awesome team. Super confident in all that kind of stuff. We've already been able to replace a lot of the existing tools that are similar, and we're excited to introduce some brand new stuff to the market. Really just want to turn that into something that is for sellers by sellers, right? Not some random giant company that's scooping up unnamed company that's scooping up giant software companies and ruining them, right?
Now, you're kind of talking about like the 2D barcodes. Talk to us a little bit about like what that means for like newer sellers who might not know.
Yeah. So I've been massively sleeping on 2D barcodes. I see it now, like in comments. Like I thought 2D barcodes was for like big wholesale sellers or stuff like that, right? But all it is a barcode. I bet I've got So I've got a label right here, right? So this barcode right here is a 2D barcode, and it embeds your box content information on it. It's a little bit of extra information like about the box itself too. And when that shows up at Amazon, instead of having to rip open your box and scan each individual barcode to figure out what's inside, they just scan that 2D barcode, which if you're saying like, man, that sounds way easier, it is. And it has led to a lot of faster check-in times. I've seen a lot less lost inventory with it as well. Yeah, you actually can't even do it through Amazon, which seems insane. Like you have to use a third-party software, which like I don't understand, but I'm super excited that we've been able to bring it to the market at the kind of the easiest and cheapest rate that people have been able to use it before. So yeah, I've been seeing some awesome user feedback on social media too. One of our guys made a video like Seller Central shipment took like 30 days to check in, and a 2D barcode shipment took literally 5. So you might not see that every time, but definitely something to play
crazy.
around with.
Yeah,
Now,
for sure. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I got a couple questions. But first one is, so for an unnamed seller who is sitting on this podcast that is using Inventory Lab, why would you sell us on using Boxem?
It is faster. It's roughly twice as fast from a lot of testing. So that's obviously money in your pocket. You got 2D barcodes way cheaper, which we've already talked about why that's so important. And we've got lots of stuff in the works that will be very community centric, right? And for you guys, like we have an actual affiliate program. We actually are in the community. Like it's not just about going in and raising rates for no reason, which they've done in the past. But really, it's just about saving time, right? Saving time, making more money, and that's what Boxem does better than any other software like it.
Absolutely love it. And I know Inventory Lab recently had something where they can do 2D barcodes as well, but I tried using it and it was as close to a disaster as it could have been. That was for multiple reasons, not knocking Inventory Lab. I've been using them for a long time, and I know a lot of other people have as well. But I'm very excited to get on the Boxem team.
Yeah,
and
I think it's something like I used it for a long time too, right? Something that we put up with, and now I'm excited to release something that the people can actually get excited about. Talk to people who run it. We jump on calls with users pretty often. Be like, hey, like, what do you want to see here? Like, what can we add? And boom, it's like sometimes it's literally done later that day. So like we want to have that dialogue with the community and keep building your tool for you.
Yes, and another thing that I know sellers love is kind of like over the last, I guess, 6 months to a year is there's been a heavy shift from posting the orange bar screenshot to the seller board screenshot.
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you guys have something that's similar to the seller board where it tracks profit on the daily basis.
We can track your profit, all that kind of stuff. In stock, buy cost, all that good stuff. And we've got some really fun analytics ideas in the works, like some stuff that there's not really anything that specifically serves arbitrage and wholesale sellers. That's going to be our number one priority in terms of what analytics do we want to see. How can we track orders better than anything else out there? Like all that kind of stuff. There's so many good ideas that we're already getting, ideas that we've had from selling over 10 million on Amazon combined between all the founders, that type of stuff. Like you're not gonna have that anywhere else.
Absolutely love it. And for a shameless plug coming up, so at ASD, the Wholesale Network, which I'm a part of with Corey Ganem and Jonah Hodges, we're running an event that Monday night, and I believe that SellerAmp and Boxum are also going to be at that event as well. So
yeah, I want to see all you guys there. I want to see all you guys
Yes.
there. I love taking pictures, shaking hands, all that kind of stuff in person. It's good to see you guys. Lots of good conversations. And even if you don't go to see to see Kaj's beautiful face, then come to hang out with other Amazon sellers, right? Like I stress it all the time. I'm sure you guys stress it all the time. Basically, any successful seller will tell you that if you can get in the room or even in a Discord lobby with other Amazon sellers that you can kind of see yourself getting along with, talking to every so often, like you have more fun, you make more money. There's just no reason not to.
100%. Yep. So if you're coming out to ASD Monday night, we're hosting an event. I'll put a link down in the description for how you can sign up and register for that.
Awesome. I'm super excited for it.
And we'll also link our affiliate that we'll set up after the recording for Boxum.
Do you use a repricer at all, Warner?
Yeah, I do. I use Be Cool for the most part. It's kind of pretty standard, that type of thing. I know a lot of people have been ragging on it, but as long as you set it up correctly, like there's really no issues. That goes for pretty much any repricer is the same. Might be a hot
100%.
take. It just comes down to how you set it up.
Yeah, totally. And like what you're looking for in a repricer at the end of the day.
Yeah. I know some people are hype on the $400 repricers that are out there. A lot of people are just doing like reprice it was good enough for me for a long time. It's $10 a month selling books. That type
I
of
never
thing.
even heard of that one.
Yeah. There's a reason you've never heard of it. It looks like it's from the 1980s, but it repriced my books back in the day. Some of you guys who have been around for a while, you'll know what I'm talking about.
the MySpace of repricers.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's funny. Let's kind of go back over the past few years. I think we'll just take the past 2 years. I think that's all we really need to know. In terms of like revenue wise, like what are you hitting over like the past like 2 years?
Yeah, past 2 years, somewhere around 4.5 million. It was like 4.4 when I checked a couple weeks ago. So yeah, that's running a little over 2 million a year. The main goal is to just I'm not aggressively interested in scaling revenue, that type of stuff. Like just keeping margins as high as possible. I might even grow a little bit slower because we got stricter on what we're buying. We could have hit 3 or 4 million by now, but probably would have made the same profit. So there's no reason, right? So it's just getting stricter on what you're buying, making sure margins are going up, making sure everybody on the team's running more efficiently than ever. Over the last 2 years, I've gone from like 2 or so hours a day on the business down to 15 minutes or 30, 15 to 30 minutes a day, which has been the main goal. So I can hop back on and talk to more guys like you and just help more people, right? It's just kind of it's a little more fulfilling that way than sitting there clicking buy now, that type of stuff.
I love it. Hey,
Wait,
Josh,
so that
before you go-
means so that means like one of your VAs actually goes and buys product?
Yeah. So I actually hire usually just been like family friends and that type of stuff who buy my inventory for me. You get like less order cancels if you have an American buyer, that type of stuff. And they're spending a lot of money, so you can afford to pay more than $5-10 an hour or whatever you're paying to a virtual assistant. But yeah, I haven't done too much purchasing. Ironically, I typically only end up having to buy on like Black Friday or Thanksgiving. So like the family probably thinks I'm doing a lot more of it than I actually am, because I'm always working like way harder when everybody else is off. It's kind of the unfortunate part of the team.
That's funny. Now,
And,
earlier
I had a
on.
quick question, Josh, before you go to the
Go ahead,
next
Kosh.
one. So you were saying about getting stricter with the kind of stuff that you're buying, and I'm just curious on your perspective as the space has shifted. There's always new sellers coming in, but then there are also sellers falling off. are you looking mainly at products that have a lower sales rank and higher profit margin, or are you still have like some niche websites or coupons where you can find more of the popular OA kind of item and still be profitable on it? Or do you have to get like really wide and focus on products that are maybe just selling like 5, 10, 20 times a month?
I don't buy too much that's like insanely slow selling. Like pretty rare for us to go below like a 30 a month type item. The way you can scale on Amazon, there's basically like two major ways, right? You can scale with a team and automate a lot of stuff, and then that's going to turn into a base hit machine, is what I like to call it, right? So you're gonna find a ton of products that make you between $100 to $500 profit each. Every now and then they'll hit you a double, a triple, or you make a grand or two, that type of thing. But just the nature of letting a lot of other people do the work for you, unless you got a demon or like that type of thing, like they're just not going to do the effort of you. They're not going to replicate the effort of you hopping on a call with two of your friends and be like, oh, we can stack this coupon and like, oh, let's see what happens if we do this. Like they're just not going to do that, right? So you can do the base hit machine. You can scale a big business that way, or you can be the guy who's working super hard, probably doing a lot of FBM, hanging out with friends on Discord all the time, and they're going super deep on like a couple products. Usually it's like the big popular arbitrage type brands. You'll see the Nikes, the Adidas, Legos, those type of products, right? And so you got to pick your poison on that. If you like to hustle and that type of stuff, it's higher margin to run at the lean operation, working hard all the time, or you can scale a base hit machine basically.
Love that. Brilliant insight.
That is very good. Now, like in your earlier days, how did you come up with capital to be able to spend on inventory for your business?
For the most part, it's just kind of snowballing it, right? I did used books for way too long because the ungating was actually hidden knowledge. Like 2019, trying to learn how to get ungated for free was genuinely impossible. So I was like, I didn't understand that there's actually value in investing in education and that like information, that type of stuff. Like obviously proceed with caution on that type of stuff. But I was like, oh, it's all a scam, right? I don't want to buy an ungate guide, even though it might be $500 and I could have unlocked probably a lot more opportunity way sooner. Don't buy an ungate guide. That's just like an example in 2019. That type of stuff comes up, right? So I had made like 30 grand doing used books because I got stuck there for a while. So capital wasn't really too much of an issue for me. When it did become an issue, it's just buy stuff that sells faster, make sure prices are dialed in, FBM as much as possible. Those are the three things. If cash is your issue, don't there's no reason to go out and get a giant loan and that type of stuff unless you're crushing it as a seller. You know what you're doing. For the most part, just doing those three will treat you a lot better.
When you were doing books, did you have a job while you were selling books, or were you just selling books?
I was just doing books that year. I was like hauling furniture on the side too. Like somebody there's like a local company. Like my mom knew the owner. It was like $30 an hour to go move furniture in the hot Arkansas heat. So I did not want to do that one very long, but I did do that to make some money as a freshman.
That's funny. That's good. And what are your goals? Like, I know you're saying like this 2.2 million is like your kind of revenue goal, but just kind of improve profit margin there. Is there any sort of other goals that you have? I mean, obviously you have Boxum and other stuff. I was just curious what kind of goals you had.
It's, Amazon wise, I'd love to do like 2.5 to 3 mil, just kind of hang out there, make sure margin stays good. If there's opportunity to jump on, scale it beyond that. The biggest thing that as a kid, like I always wanted a YouTube plaque. So like, to be honest, that's one of my biggest goals right now. I didn't expect to even have a shot at it, but I'm like 20 something thousand subscribers away from a YouTube plaque. It's just like a dream. I grew up on YouTube. I still watch YouTube every day. So it's just like a relatively mundane thing, but it's a nice little, it's also a good, indicator of how many people we're able to help through making some videos and stuff as well. So it's a nice, dual purpose milestone there.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm the same way, dude. I literally watch YouTube every single day. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not on YouTube. So, yeah, that's really cool, and that's super exciting.
What's the subscriber number for that?
100K. Yeah, you have to have 100K.
100K.
I'm at like 75 right now, 73, something like that.
That's crazy.
Is there like a timeline where you like mapped it out? Like, oh, if things like continue to grow at like where they're growing now, it's like.
I would still have like a year and a half or so. So I gotta drop a new like Mr. Beast video or something to to juice the numbers.
That's funny. Now, did you ever? We kind of talked about this earlier, but you never really had any sort of like a coach or anything anything kind of going through this, right? It was just basically just figuring everything out yourself.
Yeah, it was pretty much self-taught for me. Like I was saying, like I didn't really understand that there was actually value in buying help. Probably should have at some point, but honestly, like we've been saying, it's not a complicated business. It takes effort. So if you can go in and bang your head against the wall and be like, all right, this is what I do now, then you'll figure it out. But if you've got 50 grand, like I talked to a lot of older dudes, older women who are just like, yeah, I want to start a business. I got 20 grand. Like, why would you not spend a couple $100 to save yourself hours and hours, right? So it just didn't make sense for me. I would probably do it in retrospect. But yeah, just kind of grinded my way up.
Nice. Was there ever like a situation where you were like, dude, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like, we just took a massive hit. Like, was there any like point like along your Amazon journey where you had that feeling like that?
Yeah, I mean, like there's like a couple points I could think of. There's like, I took a weird path. I went straight from selling books to right into wholesale. Like, I actually didn't go straight from books to OA.
Interesting.
And so
Interesting.
like one of the first items I went deep on, I like went straight from books. I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing now. I bought like $5,000 worth of these knives, and I didn't know you have to look at the buy box rotation, and it was not rotating. So those are the knives that are downstairs. A lot of people got those for Christmas. Like
they're still downstairs.
They're my kitchen knives now. Like it was like a relatively nice knife set, and I just got like stuck with them. Sold a bunch on
amazing.
eBay. We got some of the money out, but I learned the hard way. You got to check buy box stats, and that was one of the things. It was like, okay, maybe I should back up a little bit, look into OA. And then with OA, there's been a couple of times where it's like, holy crap, that's where we're spending 80% of our money every month, and they just banned me, or the loop's closed, like that coupon code's gone. It's like, all right, we got to pack it up. It's like, all right, a couple weeks later, it's like, all right, I got a new one. I replaced it. So you'll see those. There'll be a little sky is falling moments where you got to adapt and that type of stuff. But that's what any business is all about.
Yeah, 100%. Especially in the Amazon business, people have to really fight to stay alive around here.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of waves that are going to be coming your way.
No. Yeah.
It is a good opportunity. It is not a easy or get rich quick, like all that type of stuff, right? Like a lot of people like to sell it as that. You got to be able to deal with some headaches if you're going to sell on Amazon.
Yeah, if you can't tolerate BS, this is not the business for you.
No, not at all. Yeah.
It's speaking of that. Give a message of encouragement to the OA sellers who were only flipping Nike and now see the Nike regate permanently being imminent.
Well, that's not official yet, but
it's not official.
It's always
but
been. It's always been on the radar. Yeah.
I'm betting that it is.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be. It's just one of those things. You got to make money on whatever opportunity you got available, right? And I will also say our store is a very good percentage shoes and clothing, and Nike is the third or fourth most popular depending on the brand, on the month, right? So it's not even the best clothing brand for OA sellers who are crushing it with clothing and clothes, right? So like it would be a shame if we lose one of probably the easiest brand to arbitrage, but it hasn't been the most profitable in a long time. So like on that front, like plenty more opportunity. There's something like 900,000 products. If you plug in like a simple keep a product finder filter for brands not on it, Amazon's not on it, actually sells that are arbitrageable that you could sell if you get the right buy cost, right? So there's more than just Nike out there. Like it would be a shame. A lot of you guys watching, if you're brand new, you probably can't even apply right now anyway, so you'll never even know what it was like, and that's fine, right? Like you'll adapt, you'll find plenty of new opportunity.
You heard it from the man himself. More opportunities than just Nike. And I remember when we were first getting started in OA, I mean, we were very, very heavy Nike. And this was 2-3 years ago, but I remember telling Josh, I was like, if Nike gets regated, we are screwed.
Yeah.
And then it took a while for that scare to happen. But yeah, there's so many opportunities out there that if just make sure that you're not, like, if you can see a bottleneck in your business where it's like, okay, I'm only sourcing profitably from one website or one brand, like just start to consciously work on adding in new profitable brands, new profitable storefronts that you can buy from, because every product, every opportunity has a life cycle. We don't know how long it is. It might be a week, might be a quarter, might be a year, but you want to make sure that if that loop closes, if that brand goes away, that it doesn't completely destroy your business.
the like the 80/20 rule is extremely true on Amazon. Is you'll have 2 or 3 brands that are making like the vast majority of your profit, and the traditional advice is like, oh, just cut the 20%, but you can't cut the 20% on Amazon. So like I like to set aside whatever you can budget, an hour a week, an hour a day, to exploratory sourcing, where it's like, all right, I'm going to go back to a category I know nothing about. So for me recently, it's been auto. And we're making decent money in auto now, because for the year so far, I've had some team members being like, all right, look at auto. You're going to suck for a while. Switch back to whatever you're comfortable with after a minute. And over time, that 20%, where it's like, all right, I'm maybe making some money with auto, and now it goes up, right? And then, oh, Nike's having an issue. It's like, okay, that's fine. We've been working on auto products for the last 6 months. We can replace it. Bang, right? So just make sure you're not, while you're Chad scaling, as a lot of the guys like to say, right? Just make sure you're not doing it all in one place. Like, try to set aside a little bit of time to do that exploratory sourcing.
I love that phrase, and it's a good way to think about it, because sometimes or not sometimes, I would say often, exploratory sourcing at the beginning, you're not finding anything. Yeah. Because there is something about being familiar with the website, being familiar with the brand, where you develop that sixth sense. And so it's like, okay, I know this is going to be good. I know where to go. But when you're looking at a new brand, new websites, you're just lost. And so you can feel like
you're basically a new
your time.
seller again. Yeah, you're essentially a new seller, because you don't know where to source it. You don't know what brands are good. Like, you know how to sell stuff, but like beyond that, like you're basically like, even with everybody else again.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I have a question. What is your favorite cashback application?
Ooh,
and what has been a recent payout that you've received?
Yeah. I used to only use Rakuten for a while, because like, it always paid out. But then they tried to steal like $4 or $5 grand from me. So I'm all my homies hate Rakuten now. So I've been using mostly Top Cashback recently. You got that gift card store too as well. If you're an OA seller, you're not using Top Cashback gift card store. You are now, let me tell you. But yeah, I mean, I'll just pay those out in like gift cards and stuff. Like my dad was doing a new construction project, so it's like, all right, here you go. All the rock from Lowe's is on the company. Just buy gift cards, right?
That's funny. That's super fun. Now, where are you currently residing?
Yeah, I'm in Florida most of the time. I'm in Wisconsin right now. I split time between. So the summers I'll be up in the north, winters you be down in the south. That's kind of the goal, right? Always nice weather.
Yeah, that's
when you know you've made it.
Yeah, right. You can go 2 different places half the year. He's basically retired. That's sick.
I like having different vibes too. Like I'm sure that's common with all entrepreneurs, is that we want something to change pretty often, right? Like you want to do, I don't know, whatever it is, right? New sourcing method, new car, whatever it is. We're all looking for something.
Yeah. Did you get a crib down in Miami, or did you go somewhere else?
It's in Miami. Yeah.
Knew it.
Nice view of the ocean. You go back up here, it's a little cozier. People are nice. They're, I'm not the whitest person in the whole city.
That's funny. Kaj, any more questions?
I am curious, what's your favorite hobby of choice?
I mean, I've been golfing recently. It seems like every Amazon seller has been getting hit at the golf. I started golf. So for the record, I started golfing as an Amazon seller before it was cool. Well, like last summer, I picked it up, and now I've seen like Garrett and like a couple guys on Twitter are all golfing.
Jonah's in
Josh,
it too.
Have you been golfing for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I golfed in high school.
Okay,
so,
cool. So you're like actually good.
Josh is, of all the Amazon sellers, Josh is actually probably the best. I would put money on
it. We'll see.
But I haven't seen any other Amazon sellers that are actually good. Everyone like started 2 weeks ago, besides Warner.
Yeah, the goal for the summer is to get below 100. So that gives you a gauge as to where I'm at.
Nice. That's okay. I forget what it was like the stat. Whether it's like, I forget what it is, it's like 30% of golfers make it below 100 or something like that.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on the second year actually practicing a good amount, and like I haven't been able to play as much this summer. Been building box I'm a little too much to have time to play 18, but yeah. I've been trying to get Garrett to run a match. I said, let's go shoot 110 together.
Oh, that's fun. That's cool. Yeah, definitely. There has to be some sort of
ASD,
Amazon
Vegas has a
Seller
lot of golf
Tournament.
courses.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
That's true.
there's gonna, I think someone's trying to set up a golf outing during ASD, and there'll
would
be
do
more
it,
for
yeah.
sure. There
Yeah.
needs to be like a running, there needs to be an Amazon golf Discord or something set up.
we can have divisions or something so that so Josh, you're not held back by by us taking
Divisions.
multiple tee shots and
Slicing right.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's fun.
I love that. All my drives have that 90-degree bend.
Oh yeah, perfect. You just got to play it. You just face the
Yeah.
forest and hit it.
Exactly. Exactly.
And hope for the best.
Love it.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, thank you all for listening to the podcast. If you got value from this episode, give it a like and subscribe to Ecom Unlimited so you can stay updated on all of our new content. Warner, where can people go find you on the internet?
Yeah. Make sure you just press subscribe. By the way, there better be a red the subscribe button down here. And you can check me out on Fields of Profit on all platforms, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all that kind of stuff.
Beautiful. Warner, well, thank you for coming on the show. It means a lot to us. And we will see you in ASD.
See you guys.
Peace.
Peace.